close your eyes for a moment. Think about breathing. You're doing it right now without even trying. Your heart beats steadily. Your eyes blink at the perfect rhythm. And memories you haven't thought of in years lie hidden, waiting to resurface at the right trigger. Who is in control of all this? You might say me, but the truth is more mysterious. The answer lies not in your conscious awareness, but in a hidden force working silently within you, the subconscious mind. And tonight we are going to explore its psychology. But here's the twist. Your subconscious is not just an automatic pilot. It is the architect of your beliefs, your emotions, even your reality itself. The question is, if it controls so much of who you are, how much of you is really under your control? Psychologists often describe the mind as an iceberg. What you see above the surface, the tip, is your conscious mind. It's where you reason, analyze, make decisions. But the vast body of the iceberg beneath the water is the subconscious, hidden but massive, shaping the direction of your life. Imagine this for a second. Only about 5% of your mental activity is conscious. The other 95% is subconscious, which means most of your actions, habits, and emotions are guided by forces you don't even notice. Doesn't that change the way you see yourself? Let's take a simple example. Have you ever driven home and suddenly realized you don't remember part of the journey? Your hands turned the wheel, your foot pressed the brake, your eyes scanned the road, but your mind was elsewhere. That wasn't your conscious thinking. It was your subconscious, faithfully replaying a pattern it has learned countless times before. The psychology behind this is fascinating. The subconscious loves repetition. Once it records a habit, it runs it automatically, freeing your conscious mind to wander elsewhere. But here's the deeper hook. If habits can be programmed, then doesn't that mean you can reprogram your subconscious? Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, was one of the first to suggest that our behavior is deeply influenced by unconscious drives. Though modern psychology has evolved since Freud, the core idea remains. Your subconscious holds the memories, emotions, and beliefs you rarely notice, yet they silently direct your choices. Think about it. Why do certain smells bring back childhood memories instantly? Why do some fears seem irrational but unshakable? It's because your subconscious stores not only experiences but the emotional weight attached to them. And when triggered, it plays them back without asking for permission. Here's something more intriguing. Your subconscious does not judge. It doesn't decide what is right or wrong, true or false. It simply absorbs. Every word you hear, every image you see, every experience you live leaves an imprint. If as a child you constantly heard, "You're not good enough," your subconscious stored it as a belief. And decades later, you might still feel unworthy, even if your conscious mind knows it isn't true. The subconscious acts like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant in it, whether positive or negative, will eventually grow. So the real question is, what seeds are you planting every day? Neurological research has shown that the subconscious is directly linked to the limbic system, the emotional brain. That's why emotions often override logic. You might consciously know that speaking in public is safe, but your subconscious remembers a moment of embarrassment from years ago, and suddenly your heart races, your palms sweat, your voice trembles. This is not weakness. It is your subconscious protecting you from perceived danger. But here's the mystery. It cannot tell the difference between real danger and imagined danger. That means your subconscious reacts the same way to a stage spotlight as it would to a predator in the wild. Isn't that astonishing? Let's go even deeper. The subconscious mind is also the bridge between the body and the mind. When you worry too much, your subconscious translates that mental state into physical tension. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, or even illness over time. This is why stress doesn't just feel mental. It actually makes you sick. On the other hand, positive subconscious programming, like visualization and affirmations, can lead to real physical healing. Modern psychology calls this the placebo effect. But is it really just placebo, or is it proof of the subconscious mind's power over the body? Think of the last time you heard your favorite song unexpectedly. Before your conscious mind even recognized the lyrics, your body already reacted. Goosebumps, a rush of emotion, a smile you couldn't hold back. This is your subconscious at work, connecting sensory input with deep emotional memory. It reminds us that while the conscious mind speaks in logic and words, the subconscious speaks in symbols, emotions, and sensations. If you want to influence it, you don't argue with logic, you speak its hidden language. And here's where it gets exciting. Modern cognitive psychology suggests that by understanding this hidden language, you can reshape your subconscious beliefs. Techniques like meditation, hypnosis, or even simple mindful repetition can bypass conscious filters and plant new patterns deep within. Imagine being able to replace fear with calm, doubt with confidence, or pain with healing. Not by force, but by training the subconscious. Suddenly, you are no longer just a passenger on the ship of your mind. You are the captain steering with intention. But how exactly do we reprogram something we can't even see? That's the puzzle we'll begin to unravel next. If your subconscious is this powerful, controlling memories, emotions, and even your body, what else might it be hiding? And what happens when we learn to access it directly? Every night when you fall asleep, your conscious mind takes a break. But your subconscious never rests. It is during sleep that it becomes most active, weaving together fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination into what we call dreams. Some psychologists believe that dreams are the voice of the subconscious, a cryptic language through which it communicates hidden fears, unresolved conflicts, or even creative insights. Think about it, how many great discoveries and inventions came from dreams? The periodic table, the sewing machine, even some of Einstein's ideas were sparked by dreamlike visions. Could it be that our subconscious holds answers long before our conscious mind notices them? Dreams also reveal something fascinating about the way the subconscious works. It speaks in symbols, not logic. You might dream of drowning, but what you're really processing is a feeling of being overwhelmed. You might dream of flying, not because you want wings, but because your subconscious is expressing freedom or ambition. Psychologists like Carl Jung devoted their lives to decoding these symbols, suggesting that the subconscious doesn't just store personal memories, but also taps into deeper, universal archetypes shared by all humans. If this is true, then every dream is not just a random story, but a message from the depths of the mind. But even when you are awake, your subconscious continues to shape your life in ways you barely notice. Take decision-making. Most of us like to believe we are logical beings, carefully weighing pros and cons before making choices. But research tells a different story. Neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted a famous experiment in the 1980s. He discovered that the brain shows activity indicating a decision several hundred milliseconds before a person becomes consciously aware of making that choice. In other words, your subconscious decides first, and your conscious mind only later justifies it. Doesn't that make you wonder how many of your free choices are really just subconscious impulses? Another experiment highlights this even more. In one study, participants were shown different pairs of stockings and asked to choose the one they preferred. Most people picked the last pair on the right. But here's the twist, they were all identical. When asked why they chose that pair, participants gave logical reasons like, "It feels softer," or "the color looks better." In reality, their subconscious simply nudged them toward the most recent option, but their conscious mind invented a story to explain it. This shows how often we create rational explanations for decisions that were never really conscious in the first place. The subconscious also plays a crucial role in forming habits, both good and bad. Have you ever tried to break a habit, like biting your nails, scrolling endlessly on your phone, or eating late at night? Consciously, you tell yourself, "I'll stop," but the subconscious resists because it sees habits as survival patterns. Once a behavior is repeated enough, the subconscious stores it as safe and automatic. That's why change feels so hard. It's not just about willpower, it's about rewriting the subconscious script. But here's the hopeful side. The same mechanism that locks in bad habits can also lock in good ones. Repetition, visualization, and emotional reinforcement are the keys to convincing the subconscious to accept a new pattern. Let's pause for a moment and think about memory. Most people believe memory is like a video recording stored in the brain, but psychology has shown it is far more complex. Memories are reconstructed each time you recall them, and the subconscious quietly edits details to fit your beliefs and emotions. This means your subconscious doesn't just store memories, it reshapes them. That's why eyewitness accounts can be so unreliable. Your subconscious fills in gaps, changes perspectives, and even plants false details without your awareness. If memory is this flexible, then the reality you believe in might not be as fixed as you think. One of the most powerful demonstrations of subconscious influence comes from priming experiments. In one study, participants were asked to read a list of words related to old age, words like wrinkle, Florida, gray. Afterward, researchers measured how long it took participants to walk down the hallway. Those primed with old words walked more slowly than those who weren't. They weren't told to act old. Their subconscious simply absorbed the suggestion and translated it into behavior. This shows that even subtle cues in your environment can shape your actions without you realizing it. The world around you is constantly programming your subconscious. The question is, who is doing the programming, you or your surroundings? Now, consider emotions. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt uneasy, even though nothing seemed wrong? Or met someone new and felt an immediate sense of trust or distrust? That wasn't conscious logic. It was your subconscious processing body language, tone, and countless microsignals faster than your conscious mind ever could. Psychologists call this thin slicing, the subconscious ability to make rapid judgments based on minimal information. Sometimes it saves us, warning us of danger before we can explain why. Other times, it misleads us, feeding us biases and assumptions we don't consciously endorse. Here's where it gets even more mysterious. Some researchers suggest that the subconscious might be connected to intuition, the sudden flashes of insight that appear without logical reasoning. Have you ever had a gut feeling that turned out to be right? That's your subconscious piecing together hidden patterns from vast amounts of information you didn't consciously process. Your conscious mind is like a flashlight, narrow and focused, but your subconscious is like a floodlight, scanning everything at once and then whispering the answer to you as intuition. The real challenge is learning when to trust it. So far, we've seen how dreams, habits, priming, and hidden memory shape our reality. But here's the deeper hook. If your subconscious can influence your choices, emotions, and even your physical health without your awareness, what could happen if you learn to influence it deliberately? Could you rewire your fears, expand your creativity, and unlock abilities you never thought possible? And that leads us to the next step in our journey, the methods psychologists and neuroscientists have discovered for accessing and reshaping the subconscious mind. From hypnosis to meditation, from visualization to cognitive reprogramming, we'll uncover how humans are learning to communicate with the hidden part of themselves. If your subconscious already shapes most of your life without your permission, imagine what could happen if you gave it new instructions. If the subconscious mind holds such immense power, the next logical question is, can we truly influence it? For centuries, philosophers, mystics, and scientists have searched for ways to access this hidden layer of the mind. And while ancient traditions used meditation, mantras, and rituals, modern psychology and neuroscience have uncovered their own set of tools, techniques that can gently bypass the conscious filter and communicate directly with the subconscious. One of the most well-known methods is hypnosis. To many people, hypnosis sounds like a stage trick, where someone clucks like a chicken on command. But in the field of psychology, hypnosis is a serious therapeutic tool. In a hypnotic state, the conscious mind relaxes, and the subconscious becomes more receptive. This doesn't mean you lose control. It means your subconscious is open to suggestion in a way it normally isn't. Therapists use hypnosis to help people quit smoking, overcome phobias, and even reduce pain. Scientific studies have shown that under hypnosis, the brain regions responsible for pain perception can actually quiet down, as if the subconscious is telling the body, you don't need to hurt right now. If the subconscious can influence something as physical as pain, imagine what else it can change. Another powerful tool is meditation. When you meditate, you silence the noise of the conscious mind. Brain scans of long-term meditators show that during deep meditation, the brain shifts into slower rhythms, alpha and theta waves, that are closely associated with subconscious activity. In this state, the boundary between conscious and subconscious becomes thinner. That's why meditation often brings sudden insights, deep emotional release, or a sense of clarity that feels almost otherworldly. You're not just calming your mind, you're literally opening a door to the subconscious. Could this be why nearly every spiritual tradition throughout history has emphasized meditation in some form? But perhaps the most practical tool of all is repetition. Remember, the subconscious learns by patterns. It does not respond to logic, but to consistent signals. Affirmations, visualization, and habit-building work because they send the same message again and again until the subconscious accepts it as reality. Athletes use visualization to mentally rehearse their performance. Studies show that the brain can hardly tell the difference between a vividly imagined action and a real one. That means when you visualize yourself succeeding, your subconscious is already wiring your body and mind to make it happen. Isn't it astonishing that imagination alone can reprogram neural pathways? There is also the method of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, which explores how language influences subconscious patterns. For example, if someone constantly says, "I can't do this," their subconscious absorbs it as truth. But if they change their language to, "I'm learning how to do this," the subconscious accepts a new, more empowering story. The subconscious is deeply influenced by words, especially those we repeat to ourselves. Every self-criticism or self-praise plants a seed. The question is, are you planting weeds or flowers in the garden of your mind? Let's look at another fascinating discovery, brain plasticity. Neuroscience has revealed that the brain is not fixed, but constantly reshaping itself. Every thought, every emotion, every repeated action strengthens certain neural connections while weakening others. This means the subconscious mind is not a locked vault. It is a living system capable of change at any moment. When you practice gratitude daily, for example, you literally train your brain to see more positive aspects of life. Over time, your subconscious shifts its default perspective from scarcity to abundance. Isn't it powerful to realize that your brain rewires itself based on what you focus on? Of course, changing the subconscious isn't always easy. Deep-seated beliefs, especially those formed in childhood, can resist new programming. But psychology has developed methods like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, to challenge these hidden beliefs. CBT helps people identify subconscious thought patterns, like, "I'm not worthy" or "nothing ever works out for me," and replace them with healthier alternatives. Over time, repetition and conscious effort carve new pathways in the subconscious. This shows that therapy isn't just about talking. It's about retraining the mind at its deepest levels. Another intriguing area of research is sleep learning or hypnopedia. While it might sound like science fiction, some studies suggest that the subconscious can absorb information during certain stages of sleep, particularly in the lighter phases. While it's unlikely you can learn an entire language overnight by playing recordings, repeated exposure to affirmations or calming suggestions during sleep can influence mood, habits, and even reduce anxiety. It's as if the subconscious listens in while the conscious mind is resting. And then there's emotional healing. Many of us carry subconscious wounds from past experiences, moments of fear, rejection, or loss. These unhealed emotions often resurface as anxiety, depression, or self-sabotage. Techniques like EMDR, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing use bilateral brain stimulation to help the subconscious reprocess traumatic memories, reducing their emotional charge. It's a reminder that the subconscious doesn't just hold your habits, it holds your pain. And with the right approach, that pain can be released. But here's something even more mysterious. The subconscious doesn't just respond to inward focus. It also responds to the environment. Music, colors, smells, even the design of a room can influence subconscious states. Marketers know this well. Supermarkets play slow music to make shoppers linger. Brands use certain colors to trigger trust or excitement, and scents are carefully chosen to influence mood. If the subconscious is always listening, then every environment you step into is shaping it, whether you realize it or not. This raises a powerful question. If you designed your environment intentionally, your workspace, your bedroom, the media you consume, could you shape your subconscious into an ally instead of a saboteur? The more we learn about the subconscious, the more it becomes clear. It is not just a passive machine. It is the silent director of your life. It stores your memories, shapes your habits, guards your fears, and fuels your creativity. But most importantly, it can be trained. Like a wild horse, the subconscious is powerful and untamed. But with the right approach, it can be guided. And here's the ultimate realization. If you don't consciously choose what goes into your subconscious, someone else will. Your culture, your family, your media, even the ads you scroll past every day. They are all planting seeds in your mind. Some will grow into confidence, others into doubt. Some will inspire, others will enslave. The question is, are you going to take control of this process or leave it to chance? Imagine this. Right now, without even realizing it, your subconscious is shaping how you see yourself, how you see others, and how you see the world. And if you learn to guide it, you don't just change your mind, you change your entire life experience. So, the real mystery isn't whether the subconscious can be reprogrammed. The mystery is, how far can we go once we learn to master it? Throughout history, some of humanity's greatest breakthroughs did not come from careful planning or conscious effort, but from sudden flashes of insight, moments of inspiration that seemed to come from nowhere. Newton sat under a tree and watched an apple fall, sparking the idea of gravity. Nikola Tesla claimed that entire inventions appeared in his mind fully formed, as if projected by some hidden source. Artists, poets, and scientists alike have described this same mysterious phenomenon. Where does it come from? Many psychologists believe the answer lies in the subconscious mind. The subconscious is not just a storage unit for habits and memories. It is also a vast creative engine. While the conscious mind works linearly, step by step, the subconscious works holistically, connecting distant ideas in ways the conscious mind could never imagine. This is why creative insights often appear when you're not actively trying, while showering, walking, or drifting off to sleep. It's almost as if the subconscious is always working in the background, weaving together a tapestry of ideas, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Take the famous case of the chemist Friedrich Kekulé. He struggled for years to understand the structure of benzene. One night, he dreamt of a snake biting its own tail, forming a circle. When he woke, he realized that benzene's structure was a ring. His subconscious had solved a scientific puzzle that his conscious mind could not. How many of our greatest ideas come not from deliberate thought, but from the quiet work of the subconscious? This creative power is not limited to geniuses. Every one of us has experienced it. A sudden solution to a problem, a melody that pops into your head, a sentence that flows effortlessly when writing. All are gifts of the subconscious. The psychology of creativity shows that when we allow space for the subconscious to operate, through relaxation, daydreaming, or play, we unlock ideas that would never emerge through force. Isn't it fascinating that sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to stop thinking about it? But creativity is just one dimension of the subconscious. Another is intuition. Have you ever felt a gut instinct about a decision? A sense of knowing without knowing why? For centuries, intuition was dismissed as irrational. But modern research suggests otherwise. Intuition is the subconscious rapidly processing patterns based on vast amounts of hidden information. For example, a firefighter might sense a building will collapse seconds before it does, not through conscious analysis, but because his subconscious noticed subtle cues in the flames and sounds. His gut feeling is not magic. It's the wisdom of the subconscious. In fact, studies show that the subconscious can detect patterns far beyond conscious awareness. In experiments, people were shown card decks where some decks were rigged to cause losses. Long before participants could consciously explain which decks were bad, their subconscious already knew. Their palms sweated and heart rates changed whenever they reached for the wrong decks. This means your subconscious can sense danger, opportunity, and truth before your conscious mind can explain it. But here's the mystery. How much of your life is guided by these unseen signals? Some psychologists suggest that intuition may be one of the subconscious mind's greatest gifts. It allows you to navigate complexity without overthinking. It lets you sense people's intentions, feel when something is wrong, or recognize when an opportunity is right. Yet, intuition is a double-edged sword. Because the subconscious also carries biases and fears, sometimes gut feelings mislead us. The challenge is learning to distinguish between intuition rooted in wisdom and impulses rooted in fear. Could mastering this balance be the key to unlocking human potential? The subconscious also plays a role in what many call flow state. Athletes, Musicians and creators describe it as being in the zone, when actions feel effortless and time seems to disappear. Neuroscience shows that in flow state, the conscious mind quiets down and the subconscious takes over. Movements, words, and ideas flow with precision, as if guided by something beyond conscious effort. This suggests that the subconscious is not just more powerful, it may actually be more efficient than conscious control. Imagine if you could enter this state at will. What would you be capable of? Now, let's touch on an even more mysterious dimension: the subconscious and human potential. Some researchers believe the subconscious may hold abilities we barely understand. Studies on savants, individuals who suddenly develop extraordinary skills after brain injuries, suggest that the subconscious may contain hidden reserves of talent. A person who never played piano before can suddenly perform with brilliance. Another can calculate complex numbers instantly. Could it be that such abilities are already within us, locked away in the subconscious? This leads us to another fascinating topic: the connection between the subconscious and collective human experience. Carl Jung proposed the idea of the collective unconscious, a shared layer of the subconscious mind containing archetypes and symbols universal to all people. That's why myths from distant cultures often share similar themes of heroes, journeys, shadows, and transformations. Jung suggested that our subconscious is not just personal, it is also connected to something larger. If true, then tapping into the subconscious might connect us not only to ourselves but to humanity as a whole. Whether or not the collective unconscious is real, there's no denying that the subconscious connects us more deeply than we think. Mirror neurons in the brain, for example, allow us to subconsciously feel the emotions of others. When you see someone smile, your brain lights up as if you're smiling too. When you see someone in pain, you wince automatically. Empathy itself may be a subconscious process, reminding us that beneath conscious differences, we are wired to connect. So far, we've seen the subconscious as a storehouse of habits, a generator of creativity, a guardian of intuition, and even a bridge to deeper human connection. But here's the bigger question: what if we've only scratched the surface? Could the subconscious hold keys to abilities we've not yet unlocked, like advanced healing, heightened perception, or even what some traditions call extrasensory awareness? Science is still cautious, but the possibilities invite curiosity. Imagine, for a moment, if you were able to fully master this hidden world. How different would your days look? Would you walk with more confidence? Would you respond to setbacks with calm clarity instead of panic? Would you see possibilities where before you only saw obstacles? This is not fantasy, this is the psychology of the subconscious mind at work. And it is available to anyone willing to listen inward, to train their inner current, and to trust in the unseen power beneath the surface. So, as we conclude this journey into the subconscious, ask yourself this: what beliefs are running quietly beneath your awareness? Are they beliefs you chose, or ones inherited from childhood, from society, from old fears? And more importantly, are they serving you or holding you back? Because the truth is, you can choose again. With each thought you repeat, with each image you hold, with each small act of belief, you are shaping tomorrow's subconscious. And if this exploration has sparked something in you, if it has made you pause and wonder about the power beneath your thoughts, then perhaps this is your moment to go even deeper. Our channel, The Sleepy Minds, is built to guide you gently into these hidden realms of science, psychology, and the mind. If you found peace, curiosity, or inspiration here tonight, I invite you to join us again. Subscribe so you don't miss the next journey into the mysteries of life and the universe. Leave a like so we know you want more of this calm and thoughtful exploration. And share it with someone who might also be searching quietly for answers in the depths of their own mind. Because in the end, the greatest discovery is not out there, in distant galaxies or ancient texts. The greatest discovery is within, in the silent, powerful, unseen subconscious that has been with you all along. Tonight, perhaps you've taken the first step toward meeting it.